Let the roll show that everybody except our paraeducator representative and Gary Euclid from the committee is present. And where's Marissa to keep us honest?
We gave Marissa the night off in honor of her birthday.
So you are doing the Marissa thing. Okay, so you're all set with anyone else who should be showing on our roster. Okay. I'm looking for a motion to approve the agenda with one change. At the board meeting a couple of weeks ago, I promised that anybody who had questions on the test binder as passed out, and we want to talk about that, would have the chance to do that at this meeting. So I would like a motion to amend the agenda to include that article as 6E.
So moved.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we have that. Approval of minutes, looking for a motion to approve the minutes.
So moved.
All those in favor?
Aye.
We have approved our minutes. Very somber group tonight. I have my suspicions. Anyway, public participation. Josh, is there anyone out there?
I do not have anyone on the line.
Thank you. And anyone here want to characterize themselves as public to speak? Okay, we have no public participation. Discussion and next steps. And we get to do the Torringford Vogel Wetmore school reports. We have print editions of the materials for that in front of us. And we're ready to start. Before we do, I will say that I had a chance to go through Vogel Wetmore. And as usual, the experience showed a well-run school with happy kids doing what they're supposed to. I think what impressed me this time particularly, although I don't know why it should be, I've seen it before, the classroom management skills of, for instance, the kindergarten teachers. You know, you have these little squeaky 5-year-olds and they're just sitting there doing what they're supposed to and participating and learning. So that was what impressed me this time. Krista, you went to...
I did go to Torringford. I was there on Halloween, so the kids were a little crazy, but you know, it's to be expected. It was book character day, so Mrs. Galullo and Mrs. Austin were the mouse and Cookie from the book, which was very cool because there were so many kids dressed as them, so they all took pictures together. It was very sweet. There was a couple things that I did really notice and wanted to make note of. I really saw the kids thinking and problem solving versus just kind of what being, you know, told what to do. And I really was impressed. There was, I think, a second or third grader who used the word conundrum. And I was blown away by that when she was talking about a book and the problem in the book. And yeah, I was really blown away. And they are doing their Veterans Day program on Friday. Provided nothing happens at work, I will be there taking Emma out for an hour. Mr. Pearson. She wants to attend as well. The kids, they were so well behaved. We saw them walking in the halls, being respectful, being kind, sharing, learning, engaged in their classrooms, engaged with each other, learning from each other. I was really impressed. There was one thing I noticed that I did want to bring up, and you know, I'm sure this is a result of the budget, but there are, you know, several kindergarten classes, and I had the opportunity to go into 3 of them, I believe. There are small classes, which is great for the teachers and for the kids, but 2 of the classes each have 11 Spanish-speaking children out of 16 or 17. And I asked the reason for that, and it was because there is only 1 kindergarten bilingual para. So in order for them to be accommodated, they were split into 2 classes, and the para splits her day between the 2 classes. It was tough to see. And I don't know how else to say it. I mean, I realize there's budget constraints and it's no one's fault. But you know, the kids in that classes the teachers, they deserve more help. And that's all I have. Great job, 24.
Thank you. Mrs. Ferguson, would you choreograph the presentations?
I'd be happy to. So we have with us tonight, we have Georgia Austin and Kelly Galullo from Torringford, Alden Pay from Mogul, and their presentation is kind of a blend of the two K-3 schools, which I think is nice. We try to collaborate as much as we can, so I think this gives a nice overview of our K-3 district experience overall. So take it away, ladies. Josh, do you have the, thank you.
Can move past that. The first presentation. Okay, so we put the portrait of a graduate in here. When we wrote our school improvement plans, we looked to the district improvement plan and the portrait of a graduate. We're doing work throughout the year with the administrative team and eventually our staff to start to take a look at what that looks like at the pre-K to 3, because I have a pre-K now and eventually we'll have more pre-Ks next year. What it looks like at those levels and kind of flesh out what does it mean for a kindergartner to be a conscientious learner or a preschool student, and what are those foundations that we're building up to for our graduates. The first slide here is our math proficiency. We use STAR to measure our math proficiency. We used to also give STAR assessment, district assessment for reading. We no longer do that because we're only using DIBELS for reading. We don't give STAR to kindergarten, that's why their scores aren't on here. It starts in first grade, and green being at or above benchmark, blue is on watch, and yellow and red are either intervention or urgent intervention. So you can see right from the slide how our students are doing or performing.
And then this is the Vogel version of that same data with green showing at and above, below watch, yellow and urgent. So the trend is in a good direction with more students reaching proficiency as they get older and fewer students needing that urgent intervention, but not where we'd love to see it ultimately.
And if I could just interject, just to remind the committee that so it says BOY, which is beginning of year, right? So this is kind of establishing that baseline data for us so that we can then look at growth over time at mid-year and end of year.
And the other thing to mention is we are piloting 2 math programs this year. I am illustrative math as well as the Bridges, the 3rd edition of the current math program, Bridges. So we have several teachers in all grade levels piloting those programs so that we can decide whether we need to make a change at the, I believe it's K5, right, level?
Yes, and the reason for that is our Alliance liaison from the State Department suggested that as we shift to our focus to more of what's happening with math instruction and math achievement, that we kind of diversify. We do use illustrative math, one of the pilot programs at our middle school, so it would make sense to look at how continuity might help, so that's part of this too.
And this is our M-class or DIBELS results. This is given K through 3rd grade. As you can see, red being students who are below or urgent intervention, all the way up to this is flipped from STAR. Blue is above grade level.
Which class is this?
Each bar goes by grade level, so the top bar is kindergarten, then first, then second, then third. And blue, the difference between DIBELS and M-class and STAR, blue is actually above meeting standard, green is meeting standard, and then the yellow and the red is below standard.
So it's a K3.
Okay.
And as you can see, as the students go up in the grade levels, their performance does improve. We're really impressed with our 3rd grade improvement. Those students had our reading program last year, and this is now their 2nd year accessing benchmark, so we're seeing already really great, they're holding on to those skills over time.
Yep, and this is the Vogel version of that same data. I think the only thing I would add to what Kelly said is that this screener really talks about the ability for students to decode, which is, the skill of learning to read the words in front of them. And the shift from away from the programs that we're using before to Benchmark, it's been a little challenging to meet all the needs in that way. We're trying to figure that out. I think Benchmark is really strong in the areas of comprehension, and that's where we've seen a lot of growth already with our students, but teachers are working really hard to sort of supplement and look at what's available in Benchmark and then draw on their area of expertise, which is where all of the professional learning we've had from Literacy How has really been helpful, because teachers are knowledgeable in these areas and they're able to make really good instructional decisions to support their students. So that's where the interventions and the small group work comes in.
So we have 3 priority goals for this year: academic excellence, continuum of support, and conditions for learning. And we'll just highlight some of those in the next few slides, what that's gonna look like at our schools throughout the year. As far as academic excellence goes, between Torringford and Vogel-Wetmore, we've been doing a lot of work on student discourse and building thinking classrooms. We started this work really 2 years ago with the Office of Teaching and Learning getting us off the ground with talking about visible thinking, vertical surfaces for learning. And we've dived a lot deeper this year into what that looks like. We're doing a book study with our grade level teams on building thinking classrooms. We started to use vertical surfaces in every room. We really looked at what are the practices that go along with that support success. So you can't just put up a whiteboard and make it work. There's lots of practices and research that goes behind how you should make that work to show that students are thinking. And we've already seen great success with it, and we've only been trying it for the past few weeks, honestly. And a lot of the PD sessions we went to yesterday or that were offered yesterday are right in line with these ideas of student discourse and building thinking classrooms, which tie right back to all of those competencies in the portrait of the graduate. We want to see students thinking and problem solving and collaborating even in kindergarten. Something else, sorry, you go back. One more thing I wanted, nope, the other way. There we go. I did want to mention that we're in year 2 of implementation of our ELA program. So our coaches are doing some flexible coaching cycles this year so that they can meet the needs of all of our staff. We do have 30 classroom teachers at Torringford and I think 27 teachers there. So we used to have really 6 to 8 week cycles, student-centered based on student data. We've changed to this model of flexible sort of mini cycles so that if a teacher is piloting the math program or is really interested in how to integrate the things they learned in Literacy How in with their benchmark units, they can do that and kind of pick from a menu, and it doesn't have to be a big 6 to 8 week cycle because it really precludes other teachers from accessing that coach. So it gives them a lot more flexibility and a lot more access. That's it on this one that I wanted to point out.
So in terms of the continuum of supports, I think that's an area that we've been working pretty consistently all along to ensure that our kids get what they need. Our intervention block, we call it the WIN block, the What I Need Now block. So that's really designed to provide flexibility for us. And that really speaks to the master schedule, which is sort of that jigsaw, putting all the pieces in place so that everybody gets to access, everybody gets what they need. Teachers get their planning time, students get their instructional minutes, and then we figure out a way to coordinate between our different intervention resources, whether it's math or literacy intervention, whether it's our EL supports, to make sure that everybody's getting the additional support that they need. One of the benefits of that is that we find that when students are pulled, let's say students who are receiving reading intervention and maybe some students who get some language support, when they're pulled during that block, we have a really small group of kids who are in the classroom and the teacher can focus on them. So often that's when they're getting their small group support, and that's really nice because one of the challenges with little kids when you're providing small group work is what do the other kids do? So having a really small group of students in the room really enables the teacher to focus on the students in front of them. So that master schedule is really key to making sure that everybody is getting what they need. We have student success team meetings, and as part of that, we talk with our teachers about the supports that their students need. So looking at data with teachers, seeing where our kids are, what their growth data looks like, who's growing, who's not, who are we worried about, and then teachers are providing those tier 2 supports within the classroom for their students if the students aren't making the growth they need. And then if it's something that they really just haven't quite figured out, that's when we have our student success team and we pull in our other experts. So whether they're reading intervention, whether it's language intervention, whether it's social work or behavior support, we get the team together so that we can figure out what does that student need and really craft a plan individualized for them.
One thing I did want to highlight, I know it's just a Torringford thing, but it's been wonderful. We have a full day integrated pre-K program that we're piloting here at Torringford. And it's been really a class of the 4-year-olds who would have been in kindergarten, but couldn't come because the age changed. And it's been a wonderful experience for those students. There's about 16 kids. Some of them have special education designation and some are peers, but they're here all day. They have specials, they have lunch, they have recess. So they're really learning how to be students without the kindergarten expectations. They also have lots of breaks and 2 recess blocks and a rest time. They don't nap.
That was the best.
And it also has been great for the pre-K teacher to collaborate with the kindergarten teachers. So she is learning right alongside of them. She's using a lot of the same program resources. So to kind of see what does it look like when they're in kindergarten, it's been a wonderful benefit. And I think hopefully now with the age change, we can, depending on numbers in the buildings next year, maybe expand that.
So another one of our priority goals was setting up conditions for learning. And at Torringford and at Vogel, we've been very focused on our student attendance, primarily through LEAP, but also really monitoring our students who are coming to school when they can, when they're healthy. I know we've had great success with our LEAP visits. This summer, we actually gathered at one of our biggest areas, our focus areas of the community, and met with at least, I think there might have been 16 or 17 kids. And we talked about the importance of attendance. We met with the students before school started. We met with the parents before the school year started. And it really forged such a great relationship and launched the importance of coming to school when you're healthy. We love and appreciate having our armed security officer. We've received lots of feedback from parents about that and just his visibility in the school. I know at Torringford, Officer Bob has forged relationships with individual students and has really helped that one student in particular was struggling coming to kindergarten. Officer Bob helped him transition very successfully. Parents, he's visible to parents. It's really been a huge asset. So thank you very much for making that happen. We also are beginning to implement a foster grandparent program at both schools. Right now, we have transitioned 2 foster grandparents who are matched with some classrooms and working individually with some of our students in helping them, giving them that extra love and support. And that has also been very successful. I know Vogel is also having the foster grandparent program in their building as well, but it has been wonderful. One of the things that both Torringford and Vogel are very excited about is on December 4th at Torringford and December 5th at Vogel. We're having the first of a 3-series family literacy night where we will be inviting families to come into our buildings for dinner and an evening of literacy. It's very, very exciting. We're trying to weave in some community supports like Torrington Public Library. We're getting high school and middle school volunteers to support the event, and hopefully I'm looking forward to quite an attendance at that with the families. And our leadership opportunities. This year we're trying something new with our 3rd graders, trying to get more of our 3rd graders involved in our school community. We have at Torringford something called our council members who will be working with the principal advisory committee to before school to plan events for our school community, but we're also having ambassadors. So those ambassadors, it's a wider reach of 3rd graders who will be supporting all of our community events at Torringford. And I believe Vogel has the same kind of opportunities there with their 3rd graders as well.
This is just some family and student engagement events that we already have underway, or are already happening, and they go throughout the year.
Maybe we can just highlight that kindergarten orientation that we were able to do this year, and invite all the kindergarten families and our registered kindergarten families so they could come into the school and meet the teachers. And then we had our kindergarten welcome back night a little bit earlier this year, and that's all been received really well by families who feel really connected to the school before it even starts, and reduce a lot of anxiety for our littlest friends when they walk in on that first day. They've already been in the building a couple times, they've met their teacher, so that's been a really nice change that we're looking to hold on to. Oh, these are just some pictures from Vogel, our squirrel friend who looks really nice as long as he's not chewing through the wires. And yeah, some of our students working, and we started a new recognizing our Eagle of the Month. We're trying some yard signs, and we got very excited because yesterday another student came and said, I saw an Eagle yard sign on while I was driving on the bus. So we're excited about that, just to kind of build up that positive vibe in the school with kids being proud of the things that they've accomplished. So we had our first school-wide assembly the other day, and we recognized our soaring scholars and our Eagle of the Month.
And this is some pictures from Torringford. What happened to my titles? Okay, that's okay. And you can see some of the vertical thinking surfaces there. The students on the left at the top, they're in 3rd grade, and I wish you could read what they wrote on there. Maybe you can when you see it in your packet, because it's phenomenal. And the students on the right are in kindergarten. So they're learning, collaborating, talking, and demonstrating those Portrait of a Graduate skills at a very early age. That's it for us. Do you guys have any questions?
I have one. The foster grandparent program that you mentioned, is that something that you're doing independently, or is that through,
No, it's actually through New Opportunities.
so that's through AmeriCorps?
Yep, yep, and AmeriCorps, yep.
Thank you. Didn't mean to cut you off.
No, not at all. It's our first year trying it, and it's been wonderful so far.
I saw a foster grandfather at Vogel Wetmore when I was making the tour. I also saw leadership. Leadership is one of the things you're talking about. I saw a leadership group in the library at Vogel Wetmore. So, what's happening with this? Anyone else?
I have a quick question. The pre-K program, that pilot program, is that a Torrington Public Schools, or we partner with somebody else?
No, it's us,
It's us.
yeah.
Do
They're
we
cute.
have just one class of that, or do we
The
have?
reason why it wasn't, because all of our other preschoolers are over at Forbes, but those are 4th and 5th graders. So we had to make some room for them here so that they could be integrated into things like lunch recess and specials. It wouldn't make sense to integrate them in like a 4th grade lunch wave. So we've opened it here.
PTO, what's going on with the combined PTOs?
Sorry, you can go first.
Oh, sorry, I forgot that we weren't combined together, I was thinking about us.
we're combined together.
So we have our first big event, coming up on Friday. We're gonna have Harvest Open Night, we're gonna be out. We were gonna have a bonfire, but we're not gonna do that because we don't wanna light Torrington on fire. But we are gonna have a movie, we're gonna have snacks, and the kids are gonna be out, Southwest and Vogel kids.
Kind of like a drive-in movie and decorate your own cardboard box and see what happens.
That's cool.
Could
Just
be
have fun.
fun, could be
Yeah.
fun.
And we, right before the Halloween, we had a combined Torringford Forbes Berry Scary Festival at Ruette. It was awesome. You might see some remnants of Silly String on us today. There was a very successful raffle where they got to Silly String us today.
20 kids, silly string, the 2 of us. So if you see stuff on us, that's
I
why.
need pictures or it didn't happen.
Our teachers were generous and raffled off some teacher experiences that students were able to take a raffle or a chance on. So it's fun to see those happening now as the students are winning.
I don't know if we'll pick silly string as a
No.
raffle again.
It's better than being pied.
Good. Anyone else? Going once, going twice?
I just wanted to comment quickly on the scores from K through 3. You can definitely see the improvement, and I'm glad that the reading program is showing progress as well.
And I did forget to
both schools.
mention that, kindergarten was extremely red, but that is typical of every year in kindergarten. They're measuring kindergarten skills and they haven't been taught, so it's not necessarily all those kids now need an intervention, they haven't had a first experience. So you'll see those scores get much better
But
pretty quickly.
it's the improvement from year to year, and I think that's what matters.
And one more thing I did wanna mention, having 15 kids in a kindergarten class is amazing.
I was really impressed with the class sizes.
And
I
that's
have to say.
because the age change, so we were, I think only about 7 students came in through the screening, at least at Torringford. And so there are 7 students that are under the age because they passed the screening, but everyone else was 5 when they got here, and you can tell what it is,
Absolutely.
the difference. Just like you said, when you went into a kindergarten classroom, and they're all sitting and listening and doing a great job, and
It's fun to watch. It's fun.
Yeah, you're 5.
Well, I would say there's that side of it, there's the side that's just wonderful for teachers to be able to spend more time on each individual child because they need that, but I would also say that, you know, we continue to really benefit from having the behavior supports that we have in the classroom and the social work supports because we are seeing a lot of need that way. You know, I think as our society is changing and kids are spending more time in front of screens, we're seeing a lot of kids who need support with their oral language, a lot of kids who really need help with their social skills. So when we talk about, you know, pushing up the skills from the portrait of the graduate, I mean, that is traditionally the work of kindergarten, right? But more now so than ever, really supporting kids to be able to play and learn and work together, so.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much for this experience. I guess you're free to leave or stay if you want.
If I could just add one thing, Georgia, I think it was you who mentioned the family literacy nights that
Yes.
we're going to be doing in both primary schools. I just want to add for the committee's information, because we're pretty proud of this. Torrington we actually had outreach from the state for that, because they are so impressed with the efforts that are being made in Torrington around literacy and that the work that's been done here over the past several years, that they actually called us and said, would you be interested in this opportunity and participating? So, and it was really supposed to be just one school in the district, but we said, look, it's a package deal. We have 2 primary schools, take it or leave it. So they got back to us and said, okay, all right, we'll fund both of them. So we're very happy about that.
we communicate and collaborate very well with Vogel Wetmore because even though we have a sister school that's 4 or 5, we have shared families, but we have shared curriculum, shared needs. So we collaborate often with Vogel Wetmore so that we're all on the same page. So
it's
that's part of the reason why our presentation is together.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, you guys.
So we're next with new course proposals.
We have a few new course proposals. This is kind of round 1. We will have another set of course proposals for you folks probably after the new year. Brian, do you and your team want to come forward, or is it just you?
Come on up.
And we have Sarah Brewer joining us via Zoom.
There she is. Jenny, not coming up? All right, just checking. So I'll let Amanda talk a little bit more about the courses in just a second, and then we'll let Sarah really go deeper into the courses, because they are health PE courses, and she can answer the questions far better than I can. But these courses really are the next step in what we actually came and talked with you guys about last year, which was the career pathways. So these are courses that are aligned with and sort of the final step in the career pathways for some students, depending on which pathways they've chosen. Amanda, you want to talk a little bit more about them before we hand it over to Sarah?
Sure. So there's 3 courses. The first one being a personal training course that prepares students to be able to take the personal trainer certification exam. So we think that would be a great addition for our health and wellness pathway for our students. And it provides them a great opportunity where they can go and actually have a certification that they can use for a potential career. The other 2 courses, one is a unified health course, which we think that can be a great addition, not only to like the health and wellness kind of area, but also to our education pathway, because it can provide students an opportunity to help, educate their peers. And the other one is unified physical education 2. that can be an even more advanced course for students to be able to, same thing, kind of work as a leader with their peers in the classroom.
Sarah, you wanna add something about the courses?
I mean, I think Amanda did a pretty great job. The personal training course is actually through ACE, which is a national organization. So they've actually provided us with their entire curriculum, PowerPoints, lesson plans. The only thing for that course that we would have to purchase is the textbook for that course. So the resources are there and available. They've actually been really great in meeting with us and making sure that we were ready to go. For Unified Health, we found that our life skills students have not been able to access our health curriculum alongside their peers. Having to modify it so significantly has really been a challenge for the health teachers. So we decided to propose Unified Health to be able to offer those life skills students curriculum that they can truly understand and that they are able to learn and take with them, and to give our helpers an opportunity to take a peer mentor role, but also a teaching role in learning how to teach students about all these awesome health topics. And I think that's it.
So what I just gave you, Sarah, I didn't have a copy of that textbook, and so I went on to the ACE website and just got some information about the text. And I don't know if you said this, I apologize, but it's a requirement, correct, that you must use this text
Yes.
course, right? Yeah.
Yep.
And what would we need? Would we need a class set or?
Yeah, we would just need a class set. Obviously, with the format of the class being lab setting, with some of it will be in the weight room, some of it will be in the classroom. We'd really have to limit the class to about 20 to give students that chance to really access, because it is an upper level course.
And from the material that you gave us, there's no online component to this, right? There's no online textbook availability? Is there?
Not that ACE has offered, no.
Okay. And would students be expected to read through the book in study hall or spare time? You said they weren't going to be circulating or taking them home.
No, they would be able to take them home, and then they would just have to return them at the end of the semester.
Okay. Thank you. Other questions?
Is there any idea of the cost associated with this yet?
$100 each.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't hear that part. Okay.
And because this aligns with one of the pathways, we have grant dollars to be able to fund
That was my next
something like
question.
this, yeah.
That was gonna be my question.
Yeah, I'm all for more opportunities. It sounds like a nice addition. 3 additions.
Other questions?
I have another question on pathways and class requests, if I could.
Okay, but we're done with specific questions.
Does it have to go with
specific
this?
Not with this one, so after
Oh,
this, I'll ask.
okay.
I'm good on this one.
Anything else for Sarah again?
I appreciate the inclusivity on this, it's
Yep.
very outstanding.
We have other unified
Yep.
courses that we offer.
We have a Unified PE 1. The reason why we want to do the Unified PE 2 is a lot of the students who go through that program really would like to continue in that program. And of course, because of the way high school credits are structured, kids can't retake a course. So for those students who are working with their life skills partners, they'd really like to be able to do it again. They really enjoy the program and they really like working with their fellow students and helping them experience physical education.
What does it mean by unified?
So Unified means that it is students from our life skills program who have significant disabilities, who are partnered with students from regular education classrooms
Cool.
to experience the
I
program.
like that.
Bill, that's a copywritten term that started in Special Olympics International. That's where it originated.
How many sections will we get? This is great that there's the unified, I like that. Do we have multiple sections, or how much interest is there?
So the number of sections is always determined by the number of course requests that we get. It varies year to year. Some years we have more sections than others. This would give us the opportunity, though, for a lot of those students who have taken it once to be able to do it again so that they can kind of build up the number of kids. Part of the limitation with the program is, of course, the number of regular education students who express interest in taking the course, because we do partner them up.
Thank you.
And what we are basically asked to do tonight is just give a favorable report and pass it on to the board, right? So any further questions, or are we set to go with that?
The more opportunities we can give our kids, the better.
So don't even need a vote on that then. Okay, we'll send it to the board and see what the board says. Thank you.
Nice job, Sarah.
Jeff, did you have another, wanted to ask real quick? Before we-
Nothing for Sarah.
Okay. Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you, Sarah.
But something in general related to the overall topic?
To the overall topic of course requests and pathways, I had a question, maybe Sue or Brian, you could explain. We have a lot more courses coming, I guess, take this as concern, not criticism. We have a brand new $186 million building opening in 65 days or so.
Yep.
And which is awesome and super exciting, but in 2019, 2020, when we were going door to door and explaining all these pathways, and I may have been mistaken, but we explained to everybody that there's going to be all of these opportunities and new paths and courses that we don't currently offer.
Yep.
I guess with it being November, I'm just curious, we'll say is better the word. Should we be expecting a lot more? I would expect a lot more of these courses, because we're competing in a space with these other schools, the Region 7, the Lakeside, the Oliver Wolcott, to help all of our students succeed in life, whether it be through college or a career path that we're offering them. Those 8th graders and 7th graders are looking at it now, you know, and I haven't seen, some people ask me, I haven't seen a course request for it. What other things should we expect to come down the road, and how prepared are we for giving these students these opportunities? I realize that the 8th graders wouldn't be there for another 4 months, but we have to start this somewhere. Even those freshmen who are there now would probably be interested in these additional opportunities. I want to make sure that we're heading down the path, we're getting there. If you guys need help getting there, the board's supporting you to get you there.
Yep, we do have more courses coming in January. We also have a slate of courses to bring once we're actually into the new building. And actually, if I know that was your question, I would have had Sarah stay on the line. Because Sarah is actually behind one of the other big pushes that we're going to have, having to do with giving students an opportunity to obtain certification to go directly into a career, which has to do with paramedics. She actually has just recently completed the training to train EMTs and paramedics, so that will be another opportunity that we'll be offering in the healthcare. Some of the pathways have been a little bit more difficult to get those top-end courses in place. We've had a lot of luck with our computer science. We now have AP Computer Science as sort of the top-level course in that program. We have some courses through our regular science program that Angel Norridge introduced 2 years ago.
Even last year, and some of those are dual credit with the community college.
And then we're also looking to expand our partnering. Currently, the way that we offer those sort of top-level courses is through something called ECO, which is Early College Opportunity. Traditionally, we have partnered with the University of Connecticut to offer those early college opportunities, which has been wonderful. But we are looking to now expand that. There are 2 other early college opportunity programs that we started working with last year. One is through the other Connecticut state universities, so WestCon and Southern Connecticut, and they offer just some different programming. And then the other one is the University of Bridgeport, which offers a very extensive early college opportunity program. And the nice part about those programs is it will allow us to step into some of the other pathways, because right now we have a plethora in the healthcare. We have a lot in the computer science, but it's been a little bit more difficult in things like the education pathway and the civics pathway to really get some of those courses. And some of these programs are going to offer us those opportunities through things like criminal justice programs, where we can start offering some of those opportunities for kids to earn college credits or earn a certificate to go directly into a career at the end.
Yeah, I think the certificate piece, Torrington has always been well known, at least in in all my years here for offering that college credit opportunity. We offer so many UConn courses and courses that are accepted other places. It's one of the great things about it. And the utilization our students take of that, they actually do it, which is awesome. So I'm grateful to hear that. The non-college bound folks, I think, is those partnerships with like ONG for construction or Hartford Healthcare has always stepped up to the plate to help with those. I wonder if at some point we could get some kind of an idea where we're at with that, because those families are asking, they're making those decisions, and the whole purpose, one of the purposes of the building, besides its current physical state, was to encourage people to stay within the district. We have such a great group of people and great opportunities for these kids. I would just hate to, I don't want parents to think that we haven't built where we want it to go. That's all. So I appreciate it.
And we do have those things coming, and then also just to speak more to that certificate level stuff, I know Kim actually and I had discussed that we're going to also start looking to offering a program in which people can get a certificate to go directly into becoming a paraeducator. Because right now, the only sort of education pathway thing we do is training people if they want to go become a teacher, which of course is going to college. And that was an opportunity that Kim and I had started to talk about, and another thing that we'll bring in that will be another one of those certificate direct-to-career opportunities versus the college route.
And like Kristen said, more opportunities for our kids.
Absolutely.
Don't take it as, I'm not trying to be difficult.
Nope.
Just trying to understand where we're going and follow the path.
To your point too, Jeff, about, in January, we're gonna bring in the construction tech, because we have a construction technology course on the books now, but we're, based on what the ask was from the board, from the building committee, that's gonna change slightly. We've looked at some curricular models, so we're gonna bring some of that forward, and that will allow kids to actually work towards some certificates and that sort of thing.
Yeah,
as
and
Brian
we have
talked
the
about.
internship already lined up with that. I don't know if you guys remember the presentation. So we partnered with the Connecticut Builders Finishing Trade Group. So things like painters, glaziers. So our kids do have an internship program that we do with them. They go actually off-site and get specific training, everything from construction first aid all the way through some preliminary training. And at the end of that program, they can go directly into a guaranteed apprenticeship with the trade of their choice, which is a huge step up from just trying to get into the trade. And they also receive a small stipend to use towards equipment for the trade. So that's been a great partnership. Yolanda came and worked with us on that last year, and it's really been a great opportunity. We had, remember how many kids do it last year?
12, right?
Yeah, somewhere between 12 and 15 kids complete it last year, which was great, because I've actually seen some of them are working at the building now. So.
I guess my final parting comment on it would be.
Finally, you promised.
I'm on the board and I didn't know 65% of this. So the parents who we're trying to attract, there's always been, for many years, people don't want to send their kids on. We all know that those kids miss out on a lot. We have a great program, a lot of positive opportunities for these kids. But if the parents don't know that these opportunities exist in these partnerships, and the great news, these 15 kids, they're working on a building outside. If we don't have that out to the public, it's difficult for us to gain traction with, hey, your kids should stay here, it's the best thing for them.
Yeah, so much like we did last year with the Pathways presentation, we could certainly come back and do sort of Pathways Part 2.
It's not us, Brian, it's just, I'm just thinking the public, even the people, we're here, we're invested in everybody's success.
And that'll be part of the great stuff about the new building, is because like for Sarah and her courses, there's a room that is specifically designed for those courses that she teaches, like the paramedic course that she'll be teaching, which looks extremely different than a regular classroom. And I think some of those opportunities where we are able to bring the community in to see the building, because I think seeing it will be a lot different than just reading it. We have the magazine that went out last year, but certainly seeing it is something different. Similar to, for the education pathway, we have a whole pre-K room that is designed so that students at the high school can observe that pre-K room from a classroom, so that they can be doing classwork based on the observations that they have at the pre-K classroom. So all those sort of really cool things in terms of the structure of the building will be really great in order to promote some of that and really let people know what the kids are doing at the school.
Awesome, thank you very much.
Yeah, absolutely.
Ellen, then Kristen.
The last comment was my train. That's okay. Are all these opportunities, are they on the website so that parents, like we can direct them? You
Yep.
Go to the website?
Yep, they're in
and-
the course of studies, and then we also make sure that we promote things like the builder's trade. We put all of that on our social media, so it was out there so parents could see it, and see, you know, the kids holding up their certificates at the end of the program. Same thing with when we did the medical internships through Charlotte Hungerford. You know, we made sure we got all of that out on social media and posted it on our website as well, so that parents can see the great opportunities that the kids have.
So it's on the Torrington High School website, it's not on the Board of Ed main website?
I believe it's on both. I believe it gets shared between the two, and then same thing with our social media. When we post things on the Torrington High School social media, it is also shared with the Torrington Public Schools social media.
Our guidance department does a really nice job
Yeah.
too with communicating it out to their kids
Yep.
and to, you know, to families during
Yeah, there's been a lot of
events.
communication.
Yeah.
But because I don't have a child at the high school,
Yep,
and Jeff, I mean, we hear it here, it's wonderful, and that presentation is great, but the parents don't hear it.
yeah.
You know, and I think that's,
Yeah, we can certainly look to work both with the middle school to get the information out through there, because obviously those are the parents who will be sending their kids to the high school.
right, right.
You know, so that's another way we could certainly look to do that.
Just a quick comment, nothing I ever do is quick, but, really, I just continue to be impressed by the programs and the opportunities that Torrington High School continues to offer. I think there are wonderful opportunities for our kids, so broad, being able to, you know, reach out to different kids with different interests and different levels of, you know, if they wanna go to academics or they wanna do trades, and we are really competing with other schools that children are leaving the district to go and pursue. So I'm just beyond impressed, you know, even just as a parent. My oldest is a freshman, and I cannot say enough good things about my encounters with Torrington High School, their student supports. The camaraderie you see at the Torrington High School football games is just amazing.
Yep.
The energy is
Well, it was a tough
insane.
loss.
I highly suggest, well, maybe
A
not.
tough loss on Friday.
But, I mean, you
Still
guys
haven't
are really
recovered.
doing a great job.
Thank you.
And I just continue to be impressed. So I look forward to hearing about further courses being offered. And if any of you are here after the meeting, I'd love to pick your brain about pathways. Side note. Don't feel like you have to stay. I'll get to another time.
You can pick our brain anytime.
Anyone else? Bill, you're the only one who hasn't,
I'm all set, thank you.
you're all set, thank you.
Thank
Okay.
you for all you do.
Yes, thank
Thank you
Thank you.
very much.
Thanks, Jeff.
Thank you, guys.
Self-evaluation update will be very quick. The deadline has come and gone, and I will be processing those and passing them on to board leadership for them to look at, and probably, well, that'll be up, I suppose, to board leadership to schedule when we have a session to sit down with the final evaluation document. Any questions? Any questions? Thank you. And academic supports for average students. Kristen, would you like to just explain what you're interested in hearing?
Yeah, so I'd like to hear if there's anything on the horizon, what we're doing in the schools. I heard we heard from the elementary schools, or at least K through 3 tonight, you know, identifying students that might need some assistance, but you know, I do think we have a large majority of students who, and I'm talking more for the elementary and middle school years. We have the TAG program, which is phenomenal. And we have kids that qualify for special ed needs. So we have a large percentage of kids in between that I feel, you know, could use some additional supports. And I was curious as to what the plans might be, if there are any, what we are doing currently. Just get some ideas.
So I can start, Kristen. So you're right, we have the TAG program for students who need a little bit of extra enrichment, right? And then we certainly do have a lot of support for kids who are identified to receive specialized education. We also have several in every one of our schools, particularly at the K-5 level, and we have 4 at the middle school, interventionist specialists. That is a general education support. So students who are your average student who is struggling with a particular concept or in a particular area or with a particular skill, based on teacher recommendation, parent recommendation, test score, school performance, classroom performance, can access that kind
Right.
of support on a daily basis.
Yeah, and I mean, I did see the interventions, they were great at Torringford.
We also, not at the elementary school anymore, although there were many years where we did have an extended day program, although we do have something at 4-5. But not K-3. We have 4-5 and then 6, 7, 8. We have an after-school program. At 4-5 level, it's 4 days a week.
Cap 21.
Right, but it's 4 days a week from dismissal until like 5:30 or something, right? And then at the middle school, it's 3 days a week, and there's transportation provided and homework help, and we have certified teachers who are pushing into those sessions to help kids who need support in specific areas. So I'm not sure if I'm answering your question.
Well, if a parent thinks that a child might need assistance but doesn't qualify for assistance, how do we approach that?
Can we answer?
Absolutely.
We just, actually, our last faculty meeting that was happening right before you walked in the door, was we talked to the staff and reminded them of our policies and procedures around multi-tiered systems of support. So a student who has SEL needs, academic needs, math, reading, writing, whatever it is, there's whole systems of support and student success team meetings that happen on each individual student. So if you're below grade level in math, but you don't even maybe rise to the level of a pull-out interventionist, we come together as a success team with administration, coaches, intervention, whoever might be a part of that student's team, to decide what is the goal, how are we gonna attack this, what strategies are we gonna put in place. And then we re-meet 6 to 8 weeks later, did that work? Do we need to adjust the goal? Do we need to try something different? Do we need to bring in different people on the team? And we go through that process on several students, and part of our school improvement plan is to have tracked data on any student that's below grade level in reading or math or social emotional goals, not quite as measurable.
What if they're not below grade level?
So that's where that win block also is very helpful, the what I need now block of time each day. That what I need now is an opportunity for teachers to know their students and know them well, so that they can provide them with whatever that student needs at that time. So imagine this segment of time where if the student is receiving any kind of service, that student is removed from the classroom to get that targeted need met. The students remaining in the classroom are, I think, the students who you're referring to. That's where those students have an opportunity to work in small groups with the classroom teacher.
And oftentimes the teachers collaborate as a grade level and come up with different things. So if across grade 2, there's a group of students in every classroom that might need this type of enrichment or this type of support, they're not necessarily needing a full-out intervention, but they collaborate and look at student data to group those students across the grade level and have small groups within, say, the teacher's side.
Can I just ask, you just said something, Kristen, that kind of confused me. If they're on grade level? So if they're on grade level and they're performing or achieving where we would expect them to.
I'm trying not to say.
Can I see if I know what you're asking? So a kid is having trouble getting a particular mathematic concept, whatever that might be. How does the kid deal with that? Getting extra help from a teacher, right? Is that what? No, it still doesn't do it.
Kristen, I think I can give you an example that might be helpful. We have a 3rd grader, and what that 3rd grader needs right now is some time in a kindergarten classroom. And so during her win block, She's leaving her third grade classroom and visiting a kindergarten and being an assistant teacher, because that's what that student, who is a typical third grader, needs right now. So it's requiring our teachers to know our students and know our students really, really well, so
Right.
that during that specific block of time, the students are all getting what they need.
So when we have somewhere like at our data team meetings, each teacher has dedicated time with a full team where we look at behaviors, attendance, academics. We go over the entire roster for that teacher, so we don't lose kids between cracks. And we try to figure out, what does that child need now? We have a retired teacher volunteering her time who lives up at Keystone, who comes in and is like a reader for one of our kids. And it was just so beautiful to watch this kid walk her to the door and hug her goodbye and love seeing her every week. So we find different things and resources for what do our kids need now.
At the middle school,
Yeah,
maybe
that's
something
that-
all they could say, that's what learning lab is for, right? Is that, learning
Yeah,
lab
and
is an
I think-
opportunity.
I mean, I think a lot of maybe what you don't see similar in all of the schools are the systems that look at students because their needs change often.
Yeah.
So we're looking at them regularly. At the middle school, there's a team 1 and a team 2, so 4 times a week, teachers are looking through their kids on their list. So every single student gets talked about, mentioned, what do they need? And some of those adjustments are going right into the lesson, so you may not see that. Above and beyond that, to access additional help, the Learning Lab block is strategically scheduled with their core teachers so that they can access, and some self-advocate and some are put on more prescriptive plans where you need to see Mrs. Jones here. We also have the drop-in after-school homework where they can come in, as well as a more structured. So we're trying to balance that between student advocating for self, which is a characteristic that helps them be a learner, as well as some kids need us to help advocate and to help them work through those pieces. And we also have new this year, well, second year, running the HTT math program where students are being pulled out for tutoring as well.
I think too, why Sue I think was confused is because we consider MTSS as tiers. So tier 1, what you said, students who aren't below grade level, core instruction meets their needs. So what the classroom teacher does every day as her regular practice without differentiating or pulling a small group, if that's meeting their needs, they're considered a tier 1 student. They move up in tiers if that's not meeting their needs or their data is demonstrating, and it's flexible, right? Like John said, if it's a particular math skill, this last test, they struggled in this concept, it could be strategically based on specific concepts.
Thank you.
That's it? Okay. Last agenda item is the one that we added tonight. And that's just the opportunity for anyone to ask any questions or bring up anything else, any comments they might have had from having looked at the assessment data binder that we were given a couple of weeks ago. Any? Yes, no? Okay, thank you. That's all. That is pretty much our agenda then. Topics for future meetings. We're going to hear new course proposals.
Yep.
What else are we going to hear? The Ask Mid-Cycle Report, that has to be coming up sooner or later, right? Isn't that this year?
We, actually, our high school folks just met with the NEASC committee. I feel like we talked about that, but maybe we didn't. Maybe they just talked to me about it. I can get that if you want.
Well, I don't know if next month is appropriate, but if it is, we can get it out of the way because we don't have a school report
January.
in January, yeah.
Okay. The NEASC.
If possible, and if not, that's okay too. You know, whatever. Don't want to make your life miserable to do something in a hurry that, you know, you could take your time doing at some later time. Anyone else? Topic for future meetings? And we will have, well, no school report because we don't have a school visit in January. That won't be till February, so might be a short agenda.
And in February, you want to do 4-5, right?
February will do 4.
Okay.
That's it?
There's no February meeting on this. There's no February meeting for future meetings on this form.
Oh, this is me next meeting.
Oh,
It's just
okay,
a typo,
then,
I'm sure.
Oh, it just got left off.
It won't be the January meeting, that's all we know right now, but, and we may or may not meet, because I know we have talked about having alternate subcommittee meeting months, so that's why it isn't there. Thank you for pointing that out.
No problem.
Maybe we'll get the
We'll
new
see.
school in our January meeting.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll get the new school in the January
And
meeting.
that might be why we might be moving the locations, maybe that's why it got left off.
Oh, yeah, to be determined.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway,
You're always welcome here.
comments for the good of the order. I'll start with you, Mr. Putnam.
Thank you guys for all the hard work, and I appreciate the presentation tonight and new course offerings, and look forward to the January meeting.
And I love when we ask questions and you're so passionate with your answers and explaining to us. Appreciate it, thank you.
We never get a don't know out of
Yeah.
our staff. do
Yeah.
we? We
There's
never-
always an
Never get that. Kristen?
Great meeting. I had a wonderful time at Torringford. It was so nice to be home again, where both my girls went for K-3. The one thing I didn't mention, which I thought was so cool, is that we have one of our teachers on her own time learning Mandarin. And there is a student in this school who speaks Mandarin as his first language. And so she practices with him. And I thought that was just the coolest thing. So it makes him feel special that somebody's learning his language, but also helps her with her studies. So that's very cool, I thought. Fun fact of the day.
I wanted to make sure Kristen was done first.
I'm never done.
So I'm finding out. It's a great meeting. I enjoyed the presentations and all the work that went into it. I have to admit, there were times when I was having trouble following it, but I appreciate all the work that you put into it, and also I was happy to learn about all the new course proposals and the new opportunities for pathways.
So,
No, thanks, just thanks to everybody who stuck around to share data, thanks.
Kim?
Great, the presentations were awesome. Nice work.
All right.
I love seeing what my colleagues are doing. I learn more and more every time, so great job, thank you.
Rachel?
Great work.
Thanks for coming in to cover. Mr. Michelson left because he had a situation that he could easily have left and just made us wait until Rachel came, but no, he was real professional and stayed despite that
He's
until
great.
coverage came. So
Shout out to
Yes.
him.
I wanted to say that as my comment for the good of the order. Anyone over there?
Great
No.
meeting, great report.
Thank you for coming.
Elementary,
Thank you all for coming.
Primary, K-3s.
Looking for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?